Hey, good morning, my friends. Happy Monday. I don't know about you, but I love a Monday. I love Mondays. Why? Because I do. That's why. Is that enough reason for you? I love Monday because it's a fresh start. It's a day to start over again. And I don't just mean from a health perspective. It's a day to it's a fresh start. There's so much opportunity on a Monday. So that's why. I feel like my shirt's crooked. It's bugging me. I am going to leave the chat off the screen from now on and just be full screen. I like to have the chat there because it's easier for me to see as they come in. But after Saturday, I'm not going to bother, or Sunday, after Sunday, yesterday's chat, I'm not going to bother putting chat up on the screen because people are just people, and I don't need that stuff on my screen anymore. So all right, Donna, we'll definitely add that to our prayer list. All right, let's go ahead and read the word, and then we'll pray together for Donna. Make sure you share this video, spread the gospel. Like, I know it opens it up for creepy people getting on and saying nasty things, but it also spreads the word of God, and that is what is important to me more than anything else. So, all right, my friends, May 22nd, Solomon builds his palace. 1 Kings 7, 1 through 12. Solomon also built a palace for himself, and it took him 13 years to complete the construction. One of Solomon's buildings was called the Palace of the Forest of Lebanon. It was 150 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. There were 4 rows of cedar pillars, and great cedar beams rested on the pillars. The hall had a cedar roof. Above the beams on the pillars were 45 side rooms arranged in 3 tiers of 15 each. On each end of the long hall were 3 rows of windows facing each other. All the doorways and doorposts had rectangular frames and were arranged in sets of 3 facing each other. Solomon also built the Hall of Pillars, which was 75 feet long and 45 feet wide. There was a porch in the front, along with a canopy supported by pillars. Solomon also built the throne room, known as the Hall of Justice, where he sat to hear legal matters. It was paneled with cedar from floor to ceiling. Solomon's living quarters surrounded a courtyard behind this hall, and they were constructed the same way. He also built similar living quarters to Pharaoh's daughter, whom he had married. From the foundation to the eaves, all these buildings were built from huge blocks of high-quality stone cut with saws and trimmed to exact measure on all sides. Some of the huge foundation stones were 15 feet long and some were 12 feet long. The blocks of high-quality stone used in the walls were also cut to measure, and cedar beams were also used. The walls of the great courtyard were built so that there was 1 layer of cedar beams every 3 layers of finished stone, just like the walls of the inner courtyard of the Lord's temple with its entry room. I thought that was beautiful. Furnishings for the temple. 1 Kings 7, 13 through 51. King Solomon then asked a man named Huram to come from Tyre. He was half Israelite, since his mother was a widow from the tribe of Naphtali, and his father had been a craftsman in bronze from Tyre. Huram was extremely skillful and talented in any work in bronze, and he came to do all the metalwork for King Solomon. Huram cast 2 bronze pillars, each 27 feet tall and 18 feet in circumference. For the tops of the pillars, he cast bronze capitals, each 7.5 feet tall. Each capital was decorated with 7 sets of lattice work and interwoven chains. He also encircled the lattice work with 2 rows of pomegranates to decorate the capitals over the pillars. The capitals on the columns inside the entry room were shaped like water lilies, and they were 6 feet tall. The capitals on the 2 pillars had 200 pomegranates in 2 rows around them, beside the rounded surface next to the latticework. Huram set the pillars at the entrance of the temple, one toward the south and one toward the north. He named the one on the south Jachin and the one on the north Boaz. The capitals on the pillars were shaped like water lilies, and so the work on the pillars was finished. Can you imagine the work put into that? Because you think about it, they didn't have 3D printers. They'd be over there carving stone with who knows what. Then Huram cast a great round basin, 15 feet across from rim to rim, called the sea. It was 7.5 feet deep and about 45 feet in circumference. It was encircled just below its rim by 2 rows of decorative gourds. There were about 6 gourds per foot all the way around, and they were cast as part of the basin. The sea was placed on a basin of 12 bronze oxen, all facing outward. 3 faced north, and 3 faced west, 3 faced south, and 3 faced east, and the sea rested on them. The walls of the sea were about 3 inches thick, and its rim flared out like a cup and resembled a water lily blossom. It could hold 11,000 gallons of water. Isn't that crazy? Hiram also made 10 bronze water carts, each 6 feet long, 6 feet wide, and 4.5 feet tall. They were constructed with side panels braced with crossbars. Both the panels and the crossbars were decorated with carved lions, oxen, and cherubim. Above and below the lions and oxen were wreath decorations. Each of these carts had 4 bronze wheels and bronze axles. There were supporting posts for the bronze basins at the corners of the cart. These supports were decorated on each side with carvings of wreaths. The top of each cart had a rounded frame for the basin. It projected at 1.5 feet above the cart's top like a round pedestal, and its opening was 2.25 feet across. It was decorated on the outside with carvings of wreaths. The panels of the carts were square, not round. Under the panels were 4 wheels that were connected to axles that had been cast as one unit with the cart. The wheels were 2.25 feet in diameter and were similar to chariot wheels. The axles, spokes, rims, and hubs were all cast from molten bronze. There were handles at each of the 4 corners of the carts, and these too were cast as one unit with the cart. Around the top of each cart was a rim 9 inches wide. The corners, supports, and side panels were cast as one unit with the cart. Carvings of cherubims, lions, and palm trees decorated the panels and corner supports wherever there was room, and there were wreaths all around. All 10 water carts were the same size and were made alike, for each was cast from the same mold. I want to know how they were making these molds. I hope we get to go back and watch some of this like a movie when we're in heaven, because I want to see some of this, because I can't even drop food into hot oil without screeching. Can you imagine trying to cast this molten bronze? And I don't know. These are the things that go through KJ's brain on a Monday morning. Hiram also made 10 smaller bronze basins, 1 for each cart. Each basin was 6 feet across, and it could hold 220 gallons of water. He set 5 water carts on the south side of the temple and 5 on the north side. The great bronze basin called the sea was placed near the southeast corner of the temple. He also made the necessary wash basins, shovels, and bowls. So at last Hiram completed everything King Solomon had assigned him to make for the temple of the Lord. The 2 pillars, the tool bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 2 networks of interwoven chains that decorated the capitals, the 400 pomegranates that hung from the chains on the capitals, 2 rows of pomegranates for each of the chain networks that decorated the capital on the top of the pillars, the 10 water carts holding 10 basins, the sea and the 12 oxen under it, the ash buckets, the shovels, and the bowls. Hiram made all these things of burnished bronze for the temple of the Lord, just as King Solomon had directed. The king had them cast in clay molds in the Jordan Valley between Succoth and Zarethan. Solomon did not weigh all these things because there were so many. The weight of the bronze could not be measured. Solomon also made all the furnishings of the temple of the Lord: the gold altar, the gold table for the bread of presence, the lampstand of solid gold, 5 on the south and 5 on the north, in front of the most holy place, the flower decorations, lamps, and tongs, all of gold, the small bowls, lamp snuffers, bowls, ladles, and incense burners, all solid gold, the doors for the entrance of the most holy place and the main room of the temple with their fronts overlaid with gold. So King Solomon finished all of his work on the temple of the Lord. Then he brought all the gifts of his father David had dedicated, the silver, the gold, and the various articles, and he stored them in the treasuries of the Lord's temple. All right, we're going to read that pretty much again. All right, I will check that out, Mary. Maybe that's what we'll watch in heaven. Charlton Heston's version of the 10 Commandments. Movie night in heaven. Maybe not. All right, 2 Chronicles 3:15 through 4:22. For the front of the temple, he made 2 pillars that were 27 feet tall, and each topped by a capital extending upward towards 7 upward another 7.5 feet. He made a network of interwoven chains and used them to decorate the tops of the pillars. He also made the 100 decorative pomegranates and attached them to the chains. Then he set up the 2 pillars at the entrance of the temple, one to the south of entrance and the other to the north. He named the one on the south Jachin and the one on the north Boaz. Solomon also made a bronze altar 30 feet long, 30 feet wide, and 15 feet high. Then he cast a great round basin, 15 feet across, rim to rim, called the sea. It was 7.5 feet deep and about 45 feet in circumference. It was encircled just below its rim by 2 rows of figures that resembled oxen. There were about 6 oxen per foot, all the way around, and they were cast as part of the basin. The sea was placed on a base of 12 bronze oxen, all facing outward. 3 faced north and 3 faced west, 3 faced south and 3 faced east, and the sea rested on them. The walls of the sea were about 3 inches thick, and its rims flared out like a cup and resembled a water lily blossom. It could hold about 16,500 gallons of water. He also made 10 smaller basins for washing the utensils for the burnt offerings. He set 5 on the south side and 5 on the north, but the priests washed themselves in the sea. He then cast 10 gold lampstands according to the specifications that had been given, and he put them in the temple. 5 were placed against the south wall, and 5 were placed against the north wall. He also built 10 tables and placed them in the temple, 5 along the south wall and 5 along the north wall. Then he molded 100 gold basins. He then built a courtyard for the priests, and also the large outer courtyard. He made doors for the courtyard entrances and overlaid them with bronze. The great bronze basin called the sea was placed near the southeast corner of the temple. Huram-Abi also made the necessary wash basins, shovels, and bowls. So at last Huram-Abi completed everything King Solomon had assigned him to make for the temple of God. The 2 pillars, the 2 bowl-shaped capitals on top of the pillars, the 2 networks of interwoven chains that decorated the capitals, the 400 pomegranates that hung from the chains on the capitals, two rows of pomegranates for each chain network that decorated the capitals on the top of the pillars, the water carts holding the basins, the sea and the 12 oxen under it, the ash buckets, the shovels, the meat hooks, and all the related articles. Huram-Abi made all these things of burnished bronze for the temple of the Lord, just as King Solomon had directed. The king had them cast in clay molds in the Jordan Valley between Succoth and Zarethan. Solomon used such great quantities of bronze that its weight could not be determined. Solomon also made all the furnishings for the temple of God: the gold altar, the tables for the bread of presence, the lampstands and their lamps of solid gold to burn in front of the most holy places prescribed, the flower decorations, lamps, and tongs, all of purest gold, the lamp snuffers, bowls, ladles, and incense burners, all of solid gold, the doors for the entrance of the most holy place and the main room of the temple, overlaid with gold. Okay. Mary. I'm going to name this here column Bubba. All right. May 22nd, I think we're on day 143. If I'm wrong, Renee Parker will tell me because I think I may have lost count. So day 100, we're going to call it day 143 and change it if we have to. Wow, what difference does it make? All right, May 22nd. Training and trust. Romans 11:29 says, God's gifts and his call. God's gift and his, oh my gosh, I can't read it. Let me try that again. Romans 11:29. God's gifts and his call are irrevocable. See, I was wrong. It's day 142. Thank you, Renee. I'm glad I have you. What would I do without you? Be wrong, right? Be a day off, right? That's what I would do without Renee. I would be wrong. All right. When David was still a teen, he was anointed to be the future king of Israel. Yet he did not possess the skill, wisdom, or knowledge to lead a nation. How could he? The character and spirit of this anointed king-to-be had to be trained and matured. So God required David to follow and obey him every step of a long, mystifying, and difficult journey that lasted for years. God did not tell David his timetable, nor did he hand David a map and an itinerary. The future king did not have a clue as to what was going to unfold between his days of tending sheep and his reign as king of Israel. But God was at work in every one of those 15 years, preparing David for his assignment. God trains us in the exact same way. Throughout our lives, in all the difficult and dark seasons, in the seasons we don't understand, or even in the ones where we don't see any value, He's training us for our assignment to fulfill our purpose. So, yield to His plan. If you will, He'll get you to your destiny. Thank you for the privilege of being your partner in your kingdom work. Please help me to follow your call and let you take care of the rest. All right. Let me get out my prayer journal. Thing's falling over here on the counter. My pen. All right. Let me go back to Donna. Let me go back and read the chats. Oh my gosh, Jackie. 52 days. 52 days. That is not enough time for everything that I have to do. Donna, I ended up in the ER all day yesterday, and we'll have to see. Sorry, but don't know if they can do anything. I'm bone on bone, and they said not much left either. Oh my goodness, Donna. Maybe it's a hip replacement. Absolutely, Pam. Okay. All right, friends. Let's go ahead and pray together, okay? Father in heaven, we thank you for today. Thank you for the blessings of Monday, for a fresh start that is Monday. I pray that you will help us to face this week ahead as an opportunity to be a blessing to someone in our path today, throughout this week. Father, I pray for Laura Jonathan and her husband as he recovers from surgery. I pray that you will heal him quickly and help them to get back to normal life as soon as possible, whatever that may look like. Father, I pray for Mom and Grace and their hips and their piriformis or their sciatica or whatever it is that's causing their issue. I pray for both of them. I pray for quick healing, and I pray for comfort while they wait for a resolution, whether that's surgery or injections or whatever needs to take place. I pray for comfort for both of them. I pray, Father, for the young man that has leukemia that we've been praying for continued peace and healing there. I pray, God, for Elizabeth Stone and her son that is going to be deployed soon. For Dalton, I pray for his heart as he goes out on this journey. I pray for Elizabeth as her son is deployed. Father, I pray for those family members of Kara specifically who are in Africa without power and have been without power for quite a while and are struggling there with crime and just being in a dangerous situation. Father, I pray for your healing there and for your protection of Kara's family. And I pray for her dad's health and salvation specifically. Father, I pray for Pam and her husband as they travel back across the state today. I pray for your will there as they seek what it is that you want for them. I pray, Father, for Pam's mother-in-law as she's healing from her injury. I pray that you will give peace to that situation there. Just give Pam a good, restful day as they travel back across the state. Father, and I pray for Donna, who is struggling with her spine issue and who thought it was her hip. Father, I pray for her spine, for healing there, for wisdom of the doctors so they know exactly what to do to take this pain away from Donna, to give her comfort so that she can walk without the use of this walker, so that she can comfortably get around. And I pray for a quick resolution there as well. Thank you so much for all that you do for us, for the many blessings that you give to us each and every day. I pray that you will keep our eyes and our hearts focused on you as we go about our day and help us to bless someone that we encounter today and be the hands and feet of Jesus as we go about our week. In your precious name I pray. Amen. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me this morning. I love you all. I will not be live for breakfast this morning as we have an appointment we have to go to this morning, so I will not see you for breakfast, but I'll be back tomorrow Thank you again for joining me each morning for devotions. I love you so much. Have a blessed day. Bye, guys.